Is that fine?
Yeah.
Mm.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel for everything Arsenal, and welcome to another latest Arsenal news live stream. In today's stream, we're going to be discussing about first up, we're going to be talking about the possibility of Lacazette joining Atletico Madrid for only what I had was like 15 million pounds, which is crazy according to me. We're also going to be talking about the possible targets we could be having to replace him, the likes of Tammy Abraham, Lautaro Martinez from Inter Milan. Which one would be the best replacement for him? Do we need to sell Lacazette? Can we give Balogun a chance? We'll be asking you guys all that. Ben White is also set for his medical today. Recently, there's been a lot of news that Ben White did his medical last week. He did his medical on Saturday. Depending on who you follow, the ones we trust most say that he's going to be checked today. So let's hope it gets done. And also, Arsenal are set to play against Watford in a behind closed doors friendly match today. So I'll be talking to Cozy about that and also taking a look at the last game we played against Millwall a bit. And yeah, all the latest news. If you have any questions in the comment section, just comment down which questions you have. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you follow the page. Make sure you smash the like button. And same for YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to smash the like button and to subscribe if you're new. And to introduce my guest once again, Cozy, how are you?
I'm fine, brother. How are you doing? I'm just looking at time running out, and transfers are beginning to stall. I mean, typical Arsenal though. Typical Arsenal though. By this time of the window, our transfers begin to freeze, and many of our transfer targets that were which were believed to be progressing are stalling, are freezing. But I think I'm fine.
Yeah, as an Arsenal fan, it's crazy. So the first topic we're going to talk about is Lacazette. We did a show with Cozy last night, very late on, and I was about to ask a few questions, but we were running out of time. And the first thing I noticed many fans saying is that the two people on the show, most of them actually said three people. Most of them actually said Lacazette to be sold, and I was actually quite shocked the number of people who were actually mentioning Lacazette amongst the likes of Willian and Bellerin to be sold. So considering he was a top scorer last season in the league, and I think he did pretty well last season. He's been linked to Atletico Madrid like he was before he joined Arsenal. Atletico Madrid, he was close to joining Atletico Madrid then as well. So are we really saying that Lacazette is that bad of a striker? Because there's also been people saying we should give Inter Milan Martinez, and we should give Inter Milan Aubameyang and Lacazette and take Martinez. Are our strikers that bad?
Yeah, look, with Alexandre Lacazette, I don't think he's delivered to the level we expected. That is the truth. If you look at the past 3 seasons, his numbers are not the worst, actually. If we think about it, because last season he had a total of 17 goals. 2019-2020 he had a total of 12 goals, and then 2018-2019 he had a total of 19 goals. So honestly, he is not the worst striker in the world. He's not the worst striker Arsenal fans will ever have. I think, though, my problem with Alexandre Lacazette is we expected more from Lacazette than from Olivier Giroud. But for me, they have almost performed at the same level. And I think Giroud was a little bit more consistent and reliable than Alexandre Lacazette. If you look at the numbers Alexandre Lacazette has brought in the last 3 years, those are the figures of Olivier Giroud. What's the difference between a 13 million pound signing then in Olivier Giroud and a 50 million signing in Alexandre Lacazette? I think that's where the problem is. I think we brought in Alexandre Lacazette as a striker that makes us a title challenger, as a striker that makes us a top 3, top 4 challenger. He's not done that. He's actually disappointed. And I was speaking about prices in the morning, and I say these days, players are so unlucky. These days, you get you're gonna, the appraisers will give you extra talent. We look at the we look at the amount of money the club paid for you. So Lacazette is not that bad, but for me, he's not delivered to the level at which he should have delivered. He had the potential to become a one Benzema. He had the potential to become, I think we thought he was going to develop. His ceiling was to become, the likes of Robert Lewandowski in that tire. That, a classical striker that gives you 25 plus goals in a season. He has not actually done that. His contract is running down. We might not want to lose him on a free. So that's why, we are trying to gamble at the moment. Can we give him to Atletico Madrid? I don't think we will do any swap deal with Atletico Madrid. So they can give us 15 million. Can we swap him with, with Lautaro Martinez at Inter Milan, and probably getting Martinez, who's the better striker at the moment? I think they're not so bad. Our strikers are not so bad, but they've failed. For Lacazette as a person, I think he's failed to give us that extra mile we paid for. He's failed to tell us why, to show us why we paid 50 million for him, 50 million euros for him, and we paid 13 or 19 for Olivier Giroud. I think if you ask any Arsenal fan at the moment, how many moments of Olivier Giroud do you remember, and how many moments of Alexandre Lacazette do you remember? The Olivier Giroud moments, are more. And many people will say Giroud was a better player at Arsenal. He was a little bit more consistent and he was a little bit more durable than Alexandre Lacazette. Lacazette, I've not seen. I think it was last season, but apart from that, I've not seen a season where I'm satisfied with Alexandre Lacazette. There is always something missing, with him in a season. Every season, there is something we feel we have not got from Lacazette, and I think that is why many people think like, and we reason, in that way. Let Lacazette go and let's get in someone else.
So I saw a comment earlier. I'll bring it up, talking about Lacazette's performance last season. So you're not taking last season into consideration at all, since he was a bit. We did better when he was around Smith Rowe and Saka. I think they did better in terms of creativity and creating chances. And as I said, he was our top scorer last season. He stepped up when we needed him. Games against Chelsea, against Tottenham, the bigger games, Leicester, he stepped up when we needed him. So you don't take last season into consideration at all.
No, I put last season into consideration. But we've got to think about so many things. Lacazette is not growing any younger. That's the first thing we've got to consider and think about. Lacazette is not 25. He's not 27. He's not 28. He's 30 years of age. And what that tells you is, look, he might get a little bit better, but for how long? 2 seasons, 1 season? It's better you bring in a younger striker at the moment, someone who's 25, someone who's 26, guaranteed. He guarantees you the goals and guarantees you the resale value and guarantees you the time at the club. So, look, last season was good. I think he performed well, but I think for me, what that gives me is the opportunity, the perfect opportunity to sell him off. The perfect opportunity to sell him off. He performed well last season. Maybe a little bit increase in value. Maybe that's it. I don't see him have a future at Arsenal.
So you'd be happy to get 15 million pounds, just 15 million.
Now, I wouldn't be happy to get 15 million pounds, but I've said it. It's the window. It's the window. In a normal window, you could be getting around, you could be looking at around 25 million pounds or 28 million pounds for Alexandre Lacazette. But it's the window, it's the pandemic, and we've got nothing to do about it. And then also, it is the problem. It is Arsenal's problem. Why do we let our players run? Why do we let players' contracts run down until 12 months? When they know in January they can get tied down to a contract somewhere and move on a free in the summer. So we have nothing to do. You either get the 15 million pounds or you risk to lose him on a free in the next summer.
Okay, so if Lacazette gets sold, we definitely do need a striker. Martinelli is currently at the Olympics, so he'll probably miss the first 1 month. Balogun, I'm not sure he's going to be a consistent guy in the first 11 or on the bench. You might see him in some games you might not see him. So we definitely need a striker. And the first striker we've been linked to recently is Tammy Abraham. So direct replacement from Lacazette, do you think that's enough?
No, not good enough. Not good enough. You know,
What if you're coming as a backup? You have Lacazette, Aubameyang, and then also Abraham.
Okay, if you have Lacazette, Aubameyang, again, I wouldn't add Tammy Abraham. I wouldn't add Tammy Abraham because if I'm asking myself, how much do we get from Tammy Abraham as a third choice striker? What good do we what good does it make apart from blocking blocking Balogun and blocking chances for Gabriel Martinelli? What good does it bring in? What I would want though is we let go of Edin Ketia, we let go of Alexandre Lacazette. Those are two strikers, and then you bring in a backup striker, or you bring in a striker that can that can play as that can support Aubameyang in a 4-4-2 or in a 4-3-3 or in a 4-2-3-1, as long as they can give you goals. I don't want to see Tammy Abraham come in, Lacazette staying at the club, and Aubameyang. We could have three strikers worth 150 million, and we failed to score we failed to get 20 goals from them. Look, with Tammy Abraham, there are a lot of debates, especially with the potential he has as a player, and the ceiling of his career, and I might buy into that. But for me, the moment Chelsea feel like he's not good enough for them, the moment Chelsea feel like he's not the man that will lead them to challenging for greater things, that is enough to tell us, he's not good enough, to be at our side as well. And look, and I don't want only judge him on those grounds, because look, Chelsea and Arsenal should be at the same level. We are not. They have won a Champions League in the last year, and they had a massive investment in the same year, so they do deserve the Champions League. And I think that elevates them to another level, slightly or overwhelmingly above Arsenal, depending on what you on the level of delusion you are on. But I think with Tammy Abraham, you would have brought in Tammy if you had Aubameyang at his peak, and you're like, if Aubameyang just gets injured, we can have someone like Tammy. And I think we have around Tammy Abraham in Balogun. Give him a chance. Try to give him a chance. Maybe he can become that Tammy Abraham. If you're bringing in a striker, bring in someone that is competing directly with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Bring in someone that will give us 17 goals, so that Aubameyang can be forced to give us 30. That is what I want. This all kind of anecdotes of how Aubameyang and Lacazette are good friends. If you're good friends and you cannot provide us with 50 goals in a season, yet your pair is 100 million plus, it doesn't make sense. Bring in Tammy Abraham for 40 million. Pairing him with Aubameyang, that's 100 million. Are they gonna give us the real value? Are they really gonna give us the real amounts of goals we want? I don't think so. So I wouldn't risk bringing in Tammy for 40 million pounds. Obviously, we are paying for we are paying the English premium. I don't want that. I would rather bring in someone who can directly compete with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Feel Aubameyang that if you do not score, you're losing your position. If you do not score, I can do it. Take an example. City had Aguero, and I don't think Gabriel Jesus has actually done. I don't think we've seen so much of him, but Aguero knew Gabriel Jesus could play in his position for 10 consecutive games and probably could give you 8 goals. Aguero can give you 12 goals. Aguero can give you 15 goals in 10 games. We know that. At least he can give you 13 goals in a run of 10 games. But again, Jesus can also give you 9. He can also give you 7. He can also give you 8. We need such, we need such kind of a player. Aubameyang, like I said, should have done that. I don't think he's done it, in the past years, and it's time for him to go. Tammy Abraham, losing Alexandre Lacazette and bringing in Tammy Abraham, I think you're just bringing in you're bringing in a younger version of Olivier Giroud, sorry to say. You bring in a striker who's going to score you a goal in the 5th minute, and they're satisfied. Because that was my problem with Olivier Giroud. The moment he scored early in the game, he sealed it. That is it. Yeah. Despite the fact that he got many chances, he wasted them. So with Tammy Abraham, I'm looking at him as a striker. Look, when it comes to Arsenal, because our standards have been lowered, he's gonna score 15 goals. And everybody will say, "Oh, Arsenal bought Tammy Abraham from Chelsea. Chelsea were robbed." But if can he play for City? Can he even be a backup for City? Can he be a backup for Liverpool? Can he be a backup at Leicester City at the moment? He cannot even be a backup at Leicester City at the moment. They have Vardy, they have Kelechi, they have Patson Daka. I reckon Vardy and Patson Daka will be the main strikers. So that those are their top two strikers. Having Tammy Abraham, that doesn't back up, at Leicester City. No, I wouldn't take him. Despite the fact that he wants to join us and Mikel Arteta loves him, I think it's a mistake. It could be another mistake that we've always done. We go for mediocre players from Chelsea. I don't know why we do that. The players we go for, they're either mediocre or they're finished or they're lost, or things like that. I don't know why we want to sign players, from Chelsea, but it seems we're so interested in it, and we always get the wrong players from there.
So let's say, I know the 40 million price tag is also not attractive at all. Let's say they were selling him for 15 million. Would you be more attracted to him?
I think that's the price they bought him at. That's the price they bought him at. Look, in terms of pricing, if you're talking about how cheap Tammy Abraham is, maybe. Because the price is another problem. But if you're talking about impact, if you're talking about what an ambitious Arsenal should do, what an ambitious Arsenal would do, again, I don't take Tammy Abraham. Again, I don't take him. I would rather look in the market. The problem now is if you think about a good striker, you're thinking about millions and millions of money. But let me just ask you a question. Would you take Tammy Abraham over Ole Watkins?
Oh, definitely not. And Watkins has actually been in the Premier League for one season, and Abraham has been there for two. I think Watkins is more accomplished. I think in terms of pace, in terms of heading ability, I think overall game, I think he's better than Abraham. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. That is the profile I'm talking about. That's the profile of player I'm talking about. If you're at Chelsea and you're competing with Timo Werner, and Timo Werner is being trolled everywhere, but you cannot really show us that, because in most cases, it was Kai Havertz picked over Tammy Abraham and Timo Werner as a false nine last season, right? Yeah. And for me, if you're having a competitor who's giving you all the reasons to shine. You have all the reasons to prove your worth, and you don't do it. I don't take you. I would rather go for a player like Ole Watkins. And someone had suggested Patrick Bamford as well. Would you do Patrick Bamford?
If Lacazette was sold and Bamford came in, I think I'd be okay. I wouldn't be extremely happy, but I'd be okay because Bamford can score goals. He has that heading ability that you don't have, for example.
Yeah, exactly. And I would take Bamford over Tammy Abraham as well. So for me, he's not the profile. I mean, he might be a potential player. He might have the ceiling. He might be English and things like that. But for me, he's not in the tier of players. If we are, categorizing them in tiers, Tammy Abraham is second last. I would think of him second last. I would even take Alexandre over him. I don't know why Arsenal don't think about signings like that. You bring in Alexandre 3 years later. You could have yourself one of the best strikers in Europe.
Okay, so that's where Cozy stands on Tammy Abraham. If you're watching on YouTube, let's get to 30 likes. If you're watching on Facebook, let's try and get to 50 likes. If you're watching on YouTube, Cozy's link is in the description. You'll see the first part of the description. You'll see Cozy's link there. So make sure you subscribe to him. We always do shows over on his channel as well. So before we go into Martinez, I wanted to ask you about Lacazette. If Lacazette stays, how many goals do you want from him next season?
Season goals 20.
20. That's just in the Premier League or overall?
Yeah, in the Premier League.
What about Aubameyang? How many goals do you want from him next season?
Aubameyang, for me, it's everybody is on board. Everybody is on board, and Aubameyang is just the missing piece. I expect around 30 goals from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang because everyone is on board. Look at Saka, look at Emile Smith Rowe, and how he's in this preseason, and look at how he has elevated this game. Look at Nicola Pepe last season ending, how he has elevated this game. Look at the likes of the young guys that are coming in, the likes of Partey, the likes of Lokonga. Look at the likes of Kian and how good they are. I think many players are elevating their game, and Aubameyang is the person that is letting us down. We saw that against Sibanian. Two clear-cut chances, one from Emile Smith Rowe, and the other I don't know where it came from, and he puts it off the bar. He was so close. Failing to hit the target for Aubameyang in that space is unforgivable. Unforgivable, honestly. So I expect around 30 goals from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang because with this Arsenal side, 30 goals, honestly.
50 goals from our strikers. That's a lot. That is a lot.
It's a lot. You know what I expect 30, yeah?
Yeah.
There was a season when Aubameyang was the only person in that team and he scored 20 plus goals without without much support from the team. You remember last season but one. Yeah? Last season but one. He almost did he made things happen by himself, right?
Yeah.
And now he's got this support. That's what I'm saying. Now he's got this support. Why doesn't he do it? Why doesn't he crack it?
So the thing with Aubameyang is that season you're talking about, that was going to be my next point. He was scoring every single one of our goals. If Aubameyang didn't score, we wouldn't score one single goal. Yeah. I remember 2 goals against Watford. I remember he scored against Tottenham in the derby. He was literally scoring every single one of our goals. So the one thing I said after that season, when we were starting last season, the one thing I wanted to see is let Aubameyang not score all our goals. I want to see some goals from Saka. I want to see some goals from Pepe. I want to see some goals from whoever we sign. Smith Rowe hadn't emerged then yet. So I wanted to see more goals from our midfielders and from other strikers. But I didn't want that to happen, and then Aubameyang stopped scoring. That is not what I wanted to happen.
Yeah.
So we got a few other goals from the Lacazettes, from the Pepes, but Aubameyang stopped scoring. If Aubameyang scored the same number of goals he scored in our FA Cup winning season last season, we would have done very, very much better.
Yeah. You're top 4.
We have done very, very much. But let me read a couple of comments. Sorry, on Facebook says Laka didn't perform to expectations. Even France prefers Olivier Giroud over him. To be fair, I wouldn't look at France because France, they don't even take Martial, they don't take Benzema until recently. So I think Giroud, in terms of overall game, I think they're just used to him. So I wouldn't look. Maybe you can say maybe Lacazette has never been taken for such a while. Maybe that's a thing. But last season, I still think he was amongst our top 3 players last season. You can dispute that, but I actually think he was up there with Tierney and Saka in terms of our best players last season. He performed more than he didn't perform. I think he was better than Aubameyang last season. Bissouma, who gave a super chat, by the way, Bissouma is so desperate to join Arsenal, by the way, because he is sending us super chats so that we can send it to Arsenal for them to buy him. He's so desperate to join Arsenal that he's actually sending us money to buy him. So thank you for that. He also says Abraham will flop at Arsenal. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. He wouldn't be the guy, as I told Cozy yesterday. If Abraham signed for Arsenal, other teams wouldn't be like, wow, Arsenal have signed Abraham. They're now a top 4 contender. No team would be like that, definitely. So that could be a bad thing. But I don't think he's a bad strike. I think last season he scored a couple of goals before he started getting benched. And the previous season, he was actually doing okay when Lampard was new. Let me see. Mwonge says Martinez is class. Kofi says Arsenal do have like the likes of Martinelli and Pepe. We will talk about that. Let me see. Thank you for being here, Kofi. By the way, yesterday you were brilliant on the show. Alhab says, I would like to know if Maddison is on Arsenal's radar. We'll come to that. Kofi also says, Oba been poor since he signed his contract. So the next one is Lautaro Martinez. So I know the comments that are already coming because Martinez can never sign for Arsenal. We know that. We expect that as well. We've seen that so many times. So you're not happy with Abraham, but would you be happy with Lautaro Martinez? Would that be a statement signing? If Arsenal splashed 70 million, 80 million for Martinez, would you be like, now Arsenal are serious?
It's not even would I be happy? Would I take a break? Would I take a break from YouTube for a week? I would. I would take a
Yeah,
break. You
yeah.
sign Lautaro Martinez. I'm taking a break. Clip this, people. We signed Lautaro Martinez. I'm taking a break for a week. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
but
be
look,
amazing. That would be amazing signing.
yeah, I think one of the things I've looked at Lautaro Martinez's career is it's been a little bit progressive. It's been progressive. He did well last season, and in the past 3 seasons, he's actually been adding more, to his game. Because 3 seasons ago, he had 6 goal engagements.
Yeah.
Then 2 seasons back, he had around I think he had around 16. And then last season, he had around 27 goal engagements with assists and goals scored. So I think he had 23, 6 assists, I think, and 17 goals. I think one of the things you love about Martinez is he's not this kind of strikers that, plant me here, I either work out or fail. He's more of a very versatile player, very, very versatile. And I think that is the kind. He's more of a modern striker. I would love to see more of those at Arsenal. Honestly, I would love to see more of such players at Arsenal. I'm tired of seeing the likes of Tammy Abraham. I'm tired of seeing Danny Welbeck. I'm tired of seeing Olivier Giroud. Typical strikers. That is all they can offer, right? With Lautaro, you're signing in. I don't want to overhype him, but you're saying in a player that can fit in a couple of formations, that can play a striker that can play in a 4-3-3 and remains as a striker and gives you more goals. A player can play a striker that can play wide and give you the same amount of goals. In a season. But the realistic thing is, how excited am I? I'm not excited. I just believe it comes from the Telegraph. The credibility of the Telegraph for me is not 100%. It's not even 80%. But I think I've seen everybody report about it, but the story actually came from the Telegraph. And I don't trust them 100%. But I don't see us go for Lautaro Martinez. I don't see it happen unless if we lost Aubameyang. If we lost a player like Aubameyang, then I'll be more, because when we lost Alexis Sanchez, I was more convinced that maybe Aubameyang would happen, and it eventually happened. But with Lautaro Martinez, I don't see that happen. We might splash around 40 million euros on Martin Odegaard, or 45. Do we splash another 70, another 60 on Lautaro Martinez? I don't see us do that, honestly. But I would be glad if we brought in a striker that like Lautaro Martinez. For me, it would be a statement signing that shows how our ambitions have actually not gradually but exponentially moved from from mediocrity to top level.
So you're very right on Martinez. I watched him so many times, sometimes even outperformed Lukaku, and I was like, this guy is amazing. The kind of goals he scores, left foot, right foot, headers in the box.
Yeah,
dribbling past players.
Yeah, I think what you have in Lautaro Martinez is a taller version of Kun Aguero.
Yeah. Same time, and he's tall and he's better. He's played abroad as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Martinez was the next one. If he joins us, that would be a dream. Obviously, that is a dream. We already know that it would be almost impossible for Martinez to join Arsenal. Not even just because Inter Milan are in the Champions League and they're doing way much better than us, but also because can Arsenal really pay that money? That would be, if we can pay 50 million for Ben White. That is always my question, because if we can pay 50 million for Ben White, why not add another 20 for Martinez? Why not add another 15 for Maddison? That's what I always wonder. So let's hope things change.
Yeah. I think with James Maddison, I think with Ben White, what people have to know is that is a statement signing, not in terms of helping us to win the league, but in trying to show people that Arsenal can spend the money when they feel this is the right player. But the problem with the Ben White deal is it limits, it stretches our budget so hard. Now it limits us from bringing in 2 or 3 more players worth 50 million. Honestly, I think we can get in a central midfielder less than 40 million pounds, and then getting an attacking midfielder less than 50 million pounds. But I think what it does is, if next summer Arsenal go for Lautaro Martinez, no one would, and Inter Milan ask for 60 million, no one would be like, "Wow, Arsenal cannot really, aim at that," because they know the last time we bought a player, it was Ben White for 50 million. I think it's a statement signing. Maybe Arsenal can. Maybe Arsenal can get there. Maybe Arsenal can reach that level of purchasing a player for 72 million. It's the same thing with Pepe. Statement signings in market, trying to tell people we can spend the money, but only if we we identify the player, as if only if we deem the player as fit, right? So next summer we go for Lautaro Martinez. I'm confident. This summer, I think no chance. No chance. We've spent the 50 million. I think that's the highest we will spend on a single player.
Dixon says Arsenal doesn't need Abraham at all. Cozy agrees with you. Hassan says good morning. I think it's good afternoon, but yeah, how are you? Hope you're well. Raymond says, I prefer Lacazette to stay and he needs more playing time this season. Well, Cozy, do you think Lacazette needs more playing time this season? By the way, I think he's usually subbed so many times. I've noticed that as well. Vardy plays 90 minutes, other strikers play 90 minutes, but he never usually plays 90 minutes. Do you think he needs more playing time?
It's my problem is he dependable? When you give him the 90 minutes, is he dependable? There's a reason that's why managers have not been picking him, season in, season out. It's not because they don't like him. You can't tell me three managers are actually against him. Is he dependable? Is he reliable? That's the question. We could give him playing time, but is he reliable? Is he the guy that's gonna write statements when you give him 20 games consistently? That question remains to be answered, because at Lyon, despite the quality of the league, he was reliable. He was dependable. He scored the goals, 20 plus goals, per campaign. At Arsenal, he has not actually done that. But I'll try. If Aubameyang fails in the first 5 games, I'm giving Lacazette 10 consecutive games, because I think he has a very good partnership with the likes of Pepe and Emile Smith-Rowe, very, very well, with and Saka. I think he's done so well. He drops, he actually comes out and becomes, part of the midfield, and in hunting for the ball. And when we get it, he's either out of his position so Saka and Pepe can fill it in, or he's actually in his position to actually finish off the chance. So I think he blends so well with Pepe, Saka, and Emile Smith-Rowe. But if he's a player leaving in the next summer on a free deal, I wouldn't invest that much time in him, though.
Okay, thank you for all those comments. Shadrach says, I will take that Aubameyang was tired last season. He carried Arsenal this previous season. Would you say Aubameyang was tired from the previous season, last season? Because I'm really trying not to believe that it's because he signed a bigger contract and he became useless. I'm really trying not to believe that.
Well, there is absolutely no way you can disagree to that. There is no way. We've got to acknowledge the extra push he put in as a player. Last season with one, lifting that club all by himself. Yeah. There is no way we can disagree. There is no way we can say disagree. But for me, all players, all teams, had very stressful seasons, and all teams actually had little time to rest. Why is it Aubameyang? Why is it only Aubameyang? And I think there's so many reasons that explain Aubameyang's poor performance. One, you could have him tired. Yeah. Two, the personal family issues that he had as a player last season that we don't want to go into on the show. But he had a couple of personal issues as well. And then many people saying that Aubameyang is one of those players that actually were affected by the absence of fans. I'm not really sure about that. I didn't know the psychology of it. Do you think maybe the psychology of lack of fans could have affected him? Maybe because I've had that from the kickoff, and I was like, wow. You guys are intelligent. You're diving into the psychology, and that's why I love people. People like James Halcott. At times, he gives you the big, a different angle, because look, Look, I mean, the lack of fans in the stadium for someone who's played football, and I think I should get someone who's played football on the show and try to understand this. But I realize it now that if I'm a musician and I'm singing in front of fans, it's so different from when I'm singing in and there is this fake crowd noise. Maybe do you think maybe he was affected by that as well? Maybe he's one of those players that really love the encouragement for the fans and things like that.
I think that was one of the main reasons. One of the many reasons. I think that was one of them. And then obviously he had a lot of trouble. I remember he went to play in an AFCON qualifying there. He had to sleep in an airport. That is just crazy. He also had the trouble with the mom. He also had the trouble with malaria. And I think I think it's like an effect. Like the moment you have like two chances and you don't score, you don't have the confidence to score the third one and the fourth one. And it just builds up, and then it's 4 games since you scored, and then it's 6 games, then it's 10, and then you've lost all your confidence. Because I remember sometimes he could score 1 goal, and then the next game 2, the next game 3, the confidence, especially that FA Cup run, Community Shield run, he was very confident then. Last season, I saw Aubameyang cutting in, and then he wouldn't shoot. And I was like, this is a guy who's not confident. This is a guy who knows he has not scored for 10 games, and he would turn back to his left, and I'd be like, Aubameyang would score this last season. This is the same goal he scored against Liverpool in the Community Shield. This is the same goal he scored against Fulham on the first day, cutting in and shooting the ball. So he lost his confidence as the games went by. And I think one of the reasons is that. So unfortunately, I'm really hoping next season he improves. And I'm going for 20 plus goals. I'm hoping he gets 20 plus goals this season. Saka Hero says Martinez unrealistic. Abraham possible. I think on loan, I think if you get Abraham, it's not even on a permanent deal. Chelsea love loan deals, a lot of loan deals. Martinez joining Arsenal will be a downgrade in his career. That one I can understand. I can say yes. But as I said, usually people, I know it's about trophies, but it's also about if Martinez comes to England, I think he has more. I think more people will watch him than the people who watch him at Inter Milan. That is 100% obvious. So the exposure for him will be more. He's as much as we say Instagram followers don't matter, these players, it matters to them. For Ronaldo, Instagram is a business. So the more, if he joins Arsenal, he gets more followers, he gets all that. So all those things combined, he gets more money probably at Arsenal per week. He gets to live in London, probably a better city than where he is right now. So there's a lot of factors that come into consideration. But if he wants to send and win more trophies, remember Conte has also left. So it doesn't necessarily mean, I don't know who's their coach right now, by the way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he has like that much of an attraction apart from winning trophies at Inter Milan. Will they win another trophy this season? I don't think so. I think Juventus will be back. So anyway, it's allowed. So I'll send the link in the chat soon. Let's talk about one more topic first before I send it, and then I will send it. Yeah, I repeated that so many times. Anyway, because Ben White will undergo his medical today, and he will join us. He's been linked to us for like two months, and I think we've heard about the medical for like 1 month already. But his holiday is over. I think he's going to undergo his medical, and he'll definitely be announced this month. But according to Arsenal, usually the way they milk transfers, we could have to wait until next month as well. So Ben White and Varane. That is not a comparison I'd like to make, but I've seen a lot of comparisons over on Twitter. So do you think it's fair to compare Ben White to Varane? Because, I mean, Varane has played with Ronaldo. He has won the World Cup. He's been there winning a lot of trophies. Do you think it's fair to compare him to Ben White, compare Ben White to Varane? Or do you think it's actually good that they're comparing the transfers because Arsenal should be going for people like Varane?
I think the comparison in the sense of what of who have signed the better player, I would agree. I would agree to that. Should Arsenal have gone for Rafa Varane? Should Arsenal have tried signing Rafa Varane? Maybe that should be the debate. I think comparing them directly, trying to make Varane superior and Ben White inferior. It's for me, it's a debate that doesn't make any sense for me. Absolutely doesn't make any sense for me. Yes, United last season finished second. They needed a player like Rafa Varane to challenge for the title. They needed a player like Jadon Sancho to challenge for the title. They've got them. Fair play to them. Arsenal finished 8th last season. We had Rob Holding. If you look at Ben White and Rob Holding, there is a massive upgrade. A massive, massive upgrade. Look, the two players are not, I think they're not even in the same chapter. But we are talking about a Rafael Varane, and a man that's no fan, and I'll speak from a footballing point of view. We're talking about a Rafael Varane that has been at Real Madrid, played with one of the best centre-backs, played with the best Spanish centre-back in the world, Sergio Ramos, right? We are talking about a Rafael Varane that has won the World Cup, right? We're talking about a Rafael Varane that has almost accomplished everything in his career, right? No, it's like saying it's like Arsenal saying it's like you sign Alen Alilovic or you sign Martin Odegaard, who's believed to be another Messi, and then you compare him directly to Messi. It's nonsense. It doesn't make a lot of sense, because with Rafael Varane, we are not talking about potential and ceiling. No, he's there. He's finished article, right? With Ben White, there's a lot, there's a lot we are talking about. We're talking about, how good of an investment it could be. And we're talking about 5 years, 6 years. Because in 5 years from now, Ben White will be the same age as Varane right now. You understand? So I think the debates are inevitable, because one has signed for Arsenal and the other signed for Manchester United. So the debates are inevitable. But for me, they don't make a lot of sense. They absolutely don't make a lot of sense. Look, Ben White doesn't win us the league, doesn't make us title challenges. Even if we sign in Rafa Varane at the moment, we don't instantly win the league in the next 2 years. We don't, right? Yeah, we absolutely don't. So for me, I mean, I wouldn't compare the two players, but I would say fair play to Manchester United. It looks like they've found their footing. It looks like they found themselves back. They found them what they are all about. Because the United I grew up with is a United that is dominant, a United that is used to winning titles and having good players. Arsenal on the other side, I grew up with an Arsenal that I knew that could challenge and is good at bringing in good players. Is Ben White a good player? I think he is. I think he has so much to watch, so much for Arsenal fans to wait for. Do I think is that the same level of Varane? Let's not make that mistake, honestly. Let's not make it.
I'm seeing a comment from Abdi saying, don't compare Ben White to Varane. We are not comparing Ben White to Varane. It would be crazy to compare Ben White to Varane. We are Arsenal fans. We hate Manchester United, but Varane is way more experienced, because he has just told you he's played with Ramos. One of the best defenders over the last 20 years. He's won the World Cup. He's played with N'Golo Kante in front of him. He's been there. No one is comparing them. We are just saying that over on Twitter and other social media platforms, Arsenal fans are comparing the buy because they are sad that you're signing Ben White and United are signing Varane, that we should be the ones signing Varane. So I understand that thing. I understand United, their main project was to get a winger and to get someone to play next to Maguire. That was their main project. I think if you asked any Arsenal fan which top 3 signings you'd make this season, I don't think getting a £60 million defender was there. I think we were trying to get midfielders and a right back. So I don't think, I'm very surprised that we're actually splashing 50 million for Ben White. I can see why. But if we went for Varane, I'd be even 100, but they were more surprised, because our problem was never defense last season. Our problems are midfield and right back. So United have sorted out their problems. I usually try not to compare other teams. I'm sure, looking at Chelsea buying all those players the other season, then you're like, are we going to compete with them? Yes, but I don't think it's fair to compare, because they're sorting out their problems, and us, we need to sort out our problems. Varane is definitely more experienced in everything, but I don't think it's fair to compare him to Ben White, because if you start comparing him, you're already losing hope on Ben White before he even kicks the ball. So, because the last question on Ben White, do you think he'll hit the ground running?
I think he will. I think he will absolutely do it. I think we might see the same. We might see the same effect as Gabriel Magalhaes last season at the beginning of the season. I think we might see the same effect. We might see a Ben White who comes in and creates a massive impact. And you know what's easy now is, I don't think it is very hard to create an impact in this Arsenal side unless you're not good enough. I don't think it's going, but I think he will hit the ground running. It's going to help us a lot, especially with the weaknesses we have on that right hand side. If you don't bring in a good right winger, I think it's going to help us a lot. I think he will hit the ground running, and he might prove many people wrong. In his first season. Maybe in the next 2-3 years, he's even going to become a better centre back. Because if I look at him, if he doesn't gather the pressure, that's the only thing he has to do. If he doesn't gather the pressure, it's going to be an absolute wonderful signing.
Hakuna Matata, how are you? Chelsea fan, we all know. He says, why Arsenal not signing Conde? Is it because of the money? Is it because we are not doing any businesses with Sevilla before? What is the reason?
I think with Jules Koundé, it's the price, but I think signing in Ben White for 55 million pounds, Sevilla could take that in Jules Koundé. I think he was just never on that list. We were linked with almost every good player: Jules Koundé, Paul Torres, Kalidou Koulibaly, not Koulibaly, Konate. Sorry, you were linked with we were linked with all of them, but the shortlist had Edmond Tapsoba and Ben White. Those were the two players on the shortlist, and we got one of them. So I think Koundé is a good centre back. I would be absolutely so happy if we got him. I don't know how much Sevilla want. Around 70 million euros.
Yeah, the money is crazy everywhere, so it's around that as well.
Yeah. So and look, I think Chelsea will sign him. I think Chelsea will eventually sign him. I don't think he was on our shortlist.
He was never. And does that frustrate you that he was not on our shortlist? Because we are seeing people are saying Ben White too expensive, should have gone for other players. Do you think does it frustrate you that we are not going for such players, or are you actually part of reality? You understand why we can't go for such players?
I think even if it's not the reality, I think what you have in Koundé, I don't think Koundé, like many people think, I don't think Koundé is a finished article. I don't think how many seasons have we watched Koundé? 5 seasons? No, not really. Someone would be lying. So I think with Ben White and Koundé, they have something in common that developing players, it's now all about management. They have they do all have a high ceiling, though I think Koundé has a higher ceiling than Ben White, because White has now signed for Arsenal. Where is he gonna go after that? Where is Ben White gonna go after Arsenal? If he performs very well, I'm not really sure. But for Koundé, you could have him at Chelsea and then go back to Spain, join Madrid or somewhere. But I think honestly, I don't think Koundé is someone that should make us regret not signing him and signing Ben White. They are all players, young potential defenders. Koundé has been better. He's the better talent. Ben White is also another potential player. So I think you almost at the same level in terms of potential, but we decided to go for Ben White rather than Koundé. So it's for me, it's like going for just the extra Premier League experience. That's what we went for, the extra Premier League experience, and they love it, and they absolutely love it.
Okay, let's take a few more comments as well. Raymond says, I also believe that Arteta should pair Lacazette and Aubameyang because Laka has the strength and Oba has the skills, 2 on top. I've always wondered about this. Last season, at the beginning of last season, I said that Arsenal's best formation was for playing with the back 3. Because at that time we had Kolasinac, who's good, okay, in the back 3. Bellerin, who prefers back 3 basically because he's not a good defender. We had Cedric, who prefers to go forward. We had Niles, who prefers to go forward. We had so many centre backs. And we had Aubameyang and Lacazette, because to play a front 2, you have to kind of play a back 3. So, Kozi, do you think playing a front 2 with Lacazette and Aubameyang, not Aubameyang on the wing playing as a left back, but up front, like the way Wood and Barnes play at Burnley, 2 strikers up top, do you think that would work better?
No, I don't really think it would work better. I think Aubameyang loves that kind of freedom. Aubameyang loves that kind of freedom up top. And look, he could work well at, in the wings. That's why he always operates in the wings. He's one player that loves the space to run into. If you put them with Alexandre Lacazette as two strikers up top, I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it will work with them unless you're playing a 4-3-3 and you're having Aubameyang slide off the middle, because that's what he does. Slides off the middle, and then he wants you to release him at every chance you get. Release him, and he's gonna run into space, and he's gonna open his body and curl those shots in. That is Aubameyang. I don't think he works well in a 4-4-2. Honestly, I don't think he works well in a 4-4-2. I think he would. But the only reason you would actually play them is Lacazette has that ability to work as a 10. We've seen it in a couple of games. He has that ability to work as a 10, and maybe that's the reason. I wouldn't play them in a 4-4-2.
Awesome. Welcome, Kofi. If you haven't watched the show we did last night on Kozi's channel, Kofi was on there. We talked about a lot of stuff, so you can go out and check that as well after this. So, Kofi, to introduce you, you're going to say hi to the people, and then the first question to you is: do you think if Lacazette leaves, Aubameyang as his best friend, do you think that will also be? You will also think about leaving as well?
Yeah, hi to everyone who's watching the live show. Obviously, hi to you guys on the panel as well. Thank you a lot for having me on here. I think that if Lacazette leaves, will it affect Aubameyang? It shouldn't, because footballers are number one motivated by money first. How much they get paid, and if Arsenal is paying him, then Lacazette left, it shouldn't really affect him, because like I said, number one priority is at the end of the week, he will look at his bank balance. He will look at his paycheck and see if Arsenal paid him. That'll be his main motivation. It would obviously affect him a little bit, but at the end of the day, he has to play for the badge and represent Arsenal first for any allegiance to anything else. He has to represent Arsenal Football Club. It wouldn't affect him. I also heard you guys debating the Ben White situation. Why did Arsenal, Ben White, Varane? I think Manchester United are looking to sign him. I heard it about a few weeks ago. And a lot of people are saying the price tag is similar. I think Varane was 38 million, rise in terms of add-ons. I think Ben White was overpriced. I think Varane, I don't know if I mentioned his name right, but he has won 4 Champions League titles. He's an accomplished. He's one of the best centre backs in the world, top 10. He's also won a World Cup. So Varane is not just any defender. He's one of the world's best defenders and one of the best defenders of this generation. 4 Champions League titles and 1 World Cup trophy. So for Manchester United to get him on a cheap or such an affordable price, and for Arsenal to get Ben White on 50 million, shows how overrated English players really are. But it also says another thing, that there's a new law in the Premier League which says that every team must have a certain amount of English players in the lineup. That's one of the reasons why Arsenal is going after Ramsdale, the goalkeeper, because of his English. That's why Arsenal signed Ben White, because Arsenal wanted to get rid of 3 English players, 8 Menonaz and Willock. So in order to balance book and head to the law, which is at least 5 English players or 5 English players in your lineup, Arsenal had to go in for Ben White. That's one of the main reasons why I went in for the English defender. One of the main other reasons why we're trying to get Ramsdale in as a second goalkeeper. There is a law, so if you don't have...
Sorry to cut you. They're saying there's some background noise from your side. Could you just check that and then I'll bring you back on?
Okay.
Serenzio asks, update us on Ben White's medical. We had that Sky Sports reported that his medical is going to be done on Wednesday, which is today. Obviously, I'd not be surprised if all those reports are wrong. Like, it could be Friday. But I don't think Ben White will be announced this week. I'm hoping it is announced this week, but the way Arsenal do their transfers very slowly, I think the earliest will be like maybe on a Monday next week or something. I think that could be the earliest you could see it. Sandy says if you can be able to get a good number 8 Madison or a War, it will be a good one. Personally, I'd go for a Madison. I think we are going to play a 4-2-3-1. I think a 4-3-3 is not only about getting Awar. I think you'll have to get a very strong right back as well. You need to get a very strong another guy to play next to Pat. You'll have to sort out a lot of things to change your formation to a 4-3-3. So I think Maddison would be a marquee signing. I think you'd change everything for us, totally everything. Eva says Brighton bully us, just 50 million for Brighton. Unfortunately, I think where we are right now, we have to pay the money. Yesterday on Cozy's show, we were talking about the kind of money, why we're in this position fast. It's because during the Wenger era, Wenger usually used to say it's not all about money, but it has started being about money. Chelsea was splashing cash, Man City was splashing cash, and they all overtook us, and we were left behind because we didn't want to spend the money. So I think right now you just have to spend money to get whatever you want. I don't think we have good scouts and good negotiators as well anyway, so that's unfortunate. Benjamin says Ben White is a better business. Let me see. Coffee, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let me know in the chat if his sound is better. So do you think you're talking about Ben White? Go ahead.
Yeah, so in terms of Ben White, I don't think he's as good as Varane. Even in England, he's a fifth choice. So obviously, if we wanted to go for England's third or fourth choice centre back, obviously would have had to pay more. And like you said, unfortunately, in this market, you have to overpay in order to get the players that you want. So Arsenal had no choice but to pay for Ben White. We really had no choice. We couldn't say if but, so maybe Arsenal Football Club had no choice but to pay the 50 million pound for Ben, or we wouldn't have got him. We really needed him. But I would have preferred Pablo, Mari, and Gabriel. I would have preferred the Brazilians in the centre back position. I don't think getting Ben White, because remember, we've got Gabriel, we've got Mari, we've got Chambers, Holding, Saliba, Mavropanos. Centre back was not a position where we really needed to get in a play. We've got like 5, 6 centre backs decent. Some of them are good, some of them are average, some of them are okay. We really didn't need Ben White, because I don't think he's better than any of the defenders we've got. He's better than some of them, but some of them he's not. I think the position where we really needed to sort out was the midfield. The midfield is Arsenal's weakest place in the whole. Obviously, we haven't got a good backup goalkeeper, you can say that as well. But midfield is where we're lacking the most. Because apart from Partey, who else? And I'd actually like to see maybe Torreira brought back into the team, because I think Torreira should be ahead of El Neni. At least if Torreira is on the bench.
I think for Torreira, I think he doesn't want to come back to Arsenal. So I think you need to be careful about players who don't want to play for you. I think it will be forcing him playing in England. I think he lost his mom because of the virus last year, and he doesn't want to be in England. So I think that as well. And I also think his size is kind of too small, unfortunately. So I think
that's what Emre realized he can't play CDM, because other teams, especially with goal kicks, will target long balls in his position, which obviously affect Arsenal. So Emre tried to push him forward into central attacking position, almost a number 10. I think what can happen is that the new Arteta can play Partey in defensive midfield and play Torreira in central midfield. So Torreira does the box ball, while Partey plays the holding position. I think it can work. It can work. Rather than playing Torreira in central attacking position, we can just play just in central midfield, the position Xhaka's playing, or Xhaka played at Arsenal. But I think the midfield is weak, and we need to sort it out. I don't think El Neni is good. And remember, Partey and El Neni are going to go for the African Cup of Nations in January. So if Partey goes, we're in big trouble, where he could go and come back injured. And then he will also go for African Cup of Nations with Egypt. So the midfield, and obviously Lokonga is inexperienced, never played in the Premier League, inexperienced. Don't know how good he is. And when they go for African Cup of Nations, who have we got in midfield? We've got no one else.
Yeah, no one else at all. Yeah.
So I think that is the position we should sort out maybe before going for a striker, because we have, if Partey and Allen go for African Cup of Nations in general, which is one of the most important times of the season, that's it. We have no midfielders. We have no midfielders left.
Thank you. Sorry, Coffee. They're still complaining about the sound. Thank you for coming on. I'll definitely bring you on.
Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you, but they're complaining about a background noise, so I'll have to cut you off. But next time I'll definitely bring you on, man. Thank you for the help, man. I'll definitely bring you on. Make sure you check out your sound next time. Before I end it, let me take a few more comments. Shihepo says Odegaard is coming back and we need to sign Lautaro and Maddison. I don't think we'll sign two world-class players like that at once. I think we're going to sign one. It's which one? Is it Awar? Is it Maddison? Is it Martinez? Or is it someone else from the blue? I'm hoping it's a Maddison. For me, my choice would be Maddison. I think we can survive a season with Aubameyang and Lacazette. I think we can survive. Eva says you're on Facebook. Yeah, believe it or not, there are actually more people watching on Facebook right now than YouTube. Facebook still exists. So yeah. Arsenal, Mwonge says Cozy not next summer. I'll be with Cozy, I think, on his channel soon as well. Arsenal need to bring in Maddison. We definitely need to bring in someone like that. Like, that would change our season completely. We definitely need a number 10. But the way it's looking, one thing I'm believing, two things. I don't think we'll sign a right back because Bellerin is still at the club. Niles is still at the club. Cedric is still here. Chambers is still here. Ben White can play as a right back. We literally have like 6 players who can play right back. So I don't think they'll sign a right back. And then I'm thinking they want to give Smith Rowe a chance as a number 10. So I know that wouldn't be enough, but I'm seeing like they're going to do that. By the way, today is Smith Rowe's birthday, so happy birthday to him. He really saved us last season. Kroenke out will end up like Sunderland, hopefully not. I think we should get at least a good number 8. I don't think we'll get, I don't know, I think we'll sign maybe 2 3 players, a goalkeeper, a number 10, and then I don't know which other position we're going to do. Hopefully we sort out, because it's definitely not enough right now. We definitely need to do more. Maddison can do the needful. Hopefully, Benjamin says Ben White is better business. Ben White, 5th choice defender. Listen, I know signing a defender from Brighton isn't the best things, but we've done a couple of videos talking about Ben White's strengths and the positions he can play for Arsenal. He's definitely better than what we have. He's definitely better than Holding. He's definitely better than Luiz, at least the same kind of passing accuracy and all. That's something we definitely need. He's definitely better playing from the back, which we're going to do next season. So I think that's a benefit to us. And he can play in many positions, and he can play 38 games in a season. We do not have players who can play more than 25 games. All our players always get injured. So Ben White, he played 36 games last season, and in the previous season for Leeds, he played every single game in the season. So I think that is definitely a plus for us, someone who can play every single minute. Benjamin says, I was surprised Arsenal went for Ben White instead of Bissouma, since midfield is our weakest position. I think for Bissouma, for the fans, we're actually the ones who are linked to Bissouma. I don't think the club was ever serious about Bissouma. I think it was actually the fans who were serious about Bissouma. It looks like Bissouma wanted to join Arsenal, but I don't think Bissouma will join Arsenal. I've always said that since day one. I don't think Saliba will play for Arsenal, and I don't think Bissouma will join us. I think they'll go maybe for a Neves. I don't think Locatelli will join, so I think a Neves or an Awar. Last season with Partey, we were targeted with Partey, linked to Partey for like 2-3 weeks because last season's transfer was short. And then it disappeared. And then on the final day, we had rumors that we are going to sign Partey. So I think that is the same thing that is going to happen with Awar this time. I think on the final day, we'll splash the cash for Awar, which will be very late because we'd already played 3 games. That is what I didn't want. I don't want us to start the season without any new players. We lose 3 games and then we start buying players. When you're already 10 points, already 20 points behind Man City, already 15 points behind Chelsea. I do not want that. Buy the players right now, have them playing a couple of friendlies, and let's be ready for the season. That's the only mistake we usually make. A lot of mistakes, yes, but that's the main mistake we always make. We wait for too long before we complete our deals. Dixon says all we need is number 8. At least we shall be convinced. Let me know, Dixon, which number 8 are you talking about? Which kind of number 8 would you want? I think we're going to play a 4-2-3-1. I think Partey will still be our defensive midfielder. I think we'll get someone else. So for me, we'll definitely try something, maybe number 10. I think we'll get maybe like a Maddison. But yeah, we've been going for 1 hour. Okay, sweetie, thank you for that. Good stream. I appreciate it. We've talked about, I saw someone asking about Watford game. We are playing a game against Watford today. I don't know the time. They haven't confirmed the time. It's a behind closed doors game, but I'll be back maybe at night with the results and talk about the game if they're going to show it. If they're going to stream it, we're going to talk about the results. Who played last time out? Chambers was really, really good. Chambers played well. Lacazette played well against Millwall. We won the game 4-1. So make sure to drop a like on the video if you're watching on Facebook. Make sure to follow the page. Make sure to drop a like on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. On the road to 9,000 subscribers, that's the next target. Let's hope we get the job done in the transfer window. Let's hope for more updates. Let's hope Ben White's medical gets completed today. So as of now, I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys later.